Hey guys, it's Rihanna here, and this is gonna be my first video. I decided to start doing these videos to document my pregnancy and all of the milestones and exciting things that are happening along the way, just so we have a lot of family and friends that live far away that I don't get to see that often, and this way I don't have to write super long Facebook posts or send a bunch of text messages or anything like that. Everybody can just kind of watch the videos and kind of get an idea of what's going on as well. So I think the best way to start off my pregnancy videos is stating how I found out I was pregnant, which was actually pretty interesting. My boyfriend and I were actually going on our first vacation together. We were going to Florida to visit his family, and we were also going down for my 21st birthday. So when we were leaving, it was also my first time on a plane. I wasn't feeling well on the plane. I was feeling really nauseous, and I thought it might have just been the flying, being as that it was my first time. So I kind of just let it go, didn't think anything of it, put it off in the back of my mind. And then as soon as we landed, I started to feel like I was coming down with something, almost like a flu or a cold or something terrible. Like I couldn't breathe out of my nose. I was coughing all the time. I had a terrible headache. And that's like the last thing you want on vacation, right? So we went to the drugstore there, and I got some cold medicine, and I even got a neti pot, which is one of those little teapot things that you pour salt water through your nose to try to clean out your sinuses. That didn't even help me. So I knew something was going on. And then the morning of June 29th, I was sitting out on the porch talking with my boyfriend's mom, and I started to feel really nauseous and really sick, like I was gonna throw up. So as awkward as it was, I kind of just stopped us mid-conversation, and I was like, oh, let's go inside. It's really hot out here. I'm not feeling well. And I walked into the kitchen. I put my coffee cup and my phone down on the table. I took one step towards the bathroom, and I completely blacked out. 100% for a good 60 seconds. I was out cold, hit my head, had a huge lump on the side of my head from hitting the floor. And of course, Eric, my boyfriend, ran out and picked me up and made me come to and everything. Everyone was bringing fans over and putting water on me. And it was a really scary experience because I've never actually blacked out before. So I was really scared. And of course I had the worst headache and just pain and miserable time after that because I wasn't feeling well from hitting the floor. And they decided to call his dad at work to let him know what was going on. And funny enough, the first thing that he said was, she should get a pregnancy test. I just have a feeling that she is pregnant. I have a feeling. And I really didn't think that that was the case, but to humor everyone and kind of like, put my own mind at ease, I was like, okay, we'll go to the store, get the test, and find out what's going on. Obviously, I didn't tell Eric any of this until I knew what was going on for sure, because I didn't want to get him excited or have him feeling anxious or anything if that wasn't the case. So his mom and I went to the store, and we bought a first response pregnancy test that had like two in it. It was like a regular one and a digital one. And we brought him back to the house. I waited until the next morning, June 30th, which also happened to be my 21st birthday. And I took the regular test, and there was the 2 positive lines on the stick. So I knew that I was pregnant, and just the way that I was feeling, knowing my body, not feeling right, I knew that that's definitely what it was. So I wanted to wait until the next morning, and I was going to take the digital one, and then I was going to break the news to Eric and everybody else. So I waited and I didn't drink a bunch of alcohol or anything on my 21st birthday because finding out I was pregnant, obviously. So the next morning I took the digital test and that said a positive yes. So that's when it was definitely time to break the news to Eric of what was going on and everyone else. And of course I was concerned, with flying back, and I had to call my doctor and make appointments, and of course falling and hitting my head. Being pregnant, I was really freaked out and really scared. So I let Eric know what was going on, and he was happy and excited, and so was I. Everyone, we were all happy and excited. This wasn't bad news by any means, but it was definitely at the strangest time that it could have happened during our vacation. So after we knew for sure what was going on with everything, I called my doctors back in Pennsylvania and let them know and asked them what I should do in regards to hitting my head and everything else. And they said once I come back to Pennsylvania that it would A, be safe for me to fly, and B, that I should get checked out, to make sure I didn't get a concussion in my head or hurt the baby in any way by falling and everything like that. So the plane ride back was not fun at all because my morning sickness started extremely early and I was nauseous the whole plane ride, and it was not a lot of fun, and it was my second time on a plane then going back home. So I really didn't enjoy that, and it kind of put a bad taste in my mouth for planes, even though obviously to go visit his parents in Florida, we're gonna have to go on planes in the future. It's just something I'm gonna have to learn how to deal with. But we came back to Pennsylvania, and the same day that we came back, I went to the clinic to get checked out for my head and make sure the baby was okay and everything, because it was, I believe it was a Sunday we got back, so my doctor's office wasn't open and I didn't feel I needed to go to the ER, so I just went to the clinic. And they checked me out there. My blood pressure was extremely high, and they felt that there was an issue with my heart for some reason. So they wanted to send me to the emergency room for further testing, and of course also to get the blood test to confirm my pregnancy as well. Of course, I was even more scared now that they were telling me there might be something wrong with my heart out of the blue. So I called Eric and he picked me up and we went to the nearest emergency room, and they put me on IV fluids, which I did not like at all. I have a huge phobia of IVs. I'm fine with getting shots, I'm fine with giving blood, but I don't like IVs. I think it has something to do with that it stays in your arm and it doesn't come out, which really bothers me, and I just really freak out when I have to get them. So it wasn't a good experience. They did all kinds of tests, especially blood tests to confirm the pregnancy, and they checked my head and my heart, of course, because they thought there was a heart issue. And everything came back good. The blood test came back positive that I was indeed pregnant, only about 2 weeks at the time, so I was able to tell fairly early versus a lot of other women can't tell until they're a few weeks along. I definitely knew right away that something was up, something was off. I just wasn't feeling like myself. I wasn't feeling good at all, and I could just tell that something was going on. So after they confirmed the pregnancy, they put me on fluids for a while. They were able to just send me home. And then I made, my regular appointments with the doctors a couple weeks later to check on how the pregnancy was going. And other than that, I was fine. But it was a pretty scary experience how I found out I was pregnant and what led me to find out that I was. And of course, ending up in the emergency room as soon as getting home from vacation was not a fun thing for me either. But that's pretty much the beginning story of how I found out I was pregnant and kind of what happened around that time. I think that's all I'm going to do for my first video because I don't want all these videos to be super long, because I want to just keep them short, sweet, and to the point about what I want to say for that particular video. So I'll try my best to keep them short so you guys don't get bored listening to me talk, which I'm sure is gonna happen. But I think that's where I'm going to wrap things up, and I will see you for my next video. I'll talk about how I was feeling and what was going on in the weeks after me finding out I was pregnant. So I'll talk to you guys then.